Hello, my Earth Zodiac signs, my Taurus, my Virgos, and my Capricorns. So we are back now with your December 2022 reading. So last month we've got the vision and disillusion. So we were talking about what our vision is, how that works, what's bigger picture are we looking at, right? And disillusion talking about the essence of dissolving, right? Becoming one more with our emotions, diving deeper into them, that like melding into water, right? If you think about sugar and water, like salt and water, right? That dissolves in the water. Eventually that's that disillusion energy, going deeper into these feelings and emotions and really tuning in with ourselves and those feelings to find whatever this vision is, right? To find that bigger picture, that bigger goal, that purpose, life purpose, maybe whatever that feeling is, by being really, really in tune with ourselves through our emotions. So now let's jump into December 2022, see what this energy is after we kind of had this energy for November. So again, how this will work is we're going to get an archetypes card. This is our theme for the month. We'll get an alchemy card, seeing how this energy is changing and transitioning through the month of December into January. And then once we are done with that part, we will get individual readings with a 3-card spread from the Light Seers Tarot this month for each of the individual zodiac signs for each of you, Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So let us get started here. We'll get this one out of the way. We'll have our kind of cards up here because I like to see how the energy transitioned into this new energy that we're about to get. So let's get our archetypes card first. So archetypes deck, please give me the energy for our Earth Zodiac signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn for December of 2022. What is our theme for December of 2022 for Earth Zodiac signs? Nope, way too many. I think I'm going to have to powder these cards at some point so they can loosen up a bit. Yeah, you want that one? Okay, yes. Ooh, the Pilgrim. Okay, lots of pretty color in that one. Very similar for like the vision was last month. Okay, so I'll get these ones out of the way now. Okay, now alchemy. Okay, alchemy deck with regards to the Pilgrim. For our Earth Zodiac signs, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, what is the energy that's changing? How is energy changing, transitioning, and transforming for December 2022 with regards to the Pilgrim? How's our energy changing and transforming? Not too many. Come on. Ah! Okay. I have a bunch that fell on the ground, but this one is an individual and stayed up, so I like that one. Lots of cards this time. Okay. We have Saturn. Ooh, interesting. Okay. Saturn. Okay. So here are 2 cards, our theme cards for the month of December, our signs. We got the Pilgrim and we've got Saturn here. Very, very interesting. Color-wise, let's see, that like kind of gold piece on the Saturn is matching kind of the center here. That's cool. The hand shape's interesting here. Okay. This feels very, very different from last time. So kind of that progression, right? If we're looking in terms of cycles and cyclical energy. So the vision and disillusion into the Pilgrim into Saturn. So kind of look how the color is here, right? And how the color's here. So it's grown, it's expanded almost in between from diving into those deeper emotions and feelings. And this was the thought process, right? So the thought process of the vision, thinking, trying to be in this area, diving into our emotions to really dig and pull it out. And now Pilgrim, right? Just off the bat, thinking about Pilgrim, that traveling, right? We're being surrounded by this vision energy that was from the month prior. So very, very interesting here, our zodiac signs. So let's dive a little bit deeper now into the Pilgrim and Saturn here. So it's really funny here, Earth Zodiac signs, for the Pilgrim and Saturn. They're almost contradicting energies. We can kind of see that in the colors for sure, right? All this color and pretty with some of this pilgrimy, like neutral colors in the center of the card versus this is all just center with just a little pop of color here. And this is a very Saturn energy itself. Saturn is very strict. That's those our boundaries. It is our being bound by time, being bound by rules, being bound by authority. And it's a very difficult energy sometimes to come in. Saturn, though, For many, many people, when the Saturn returns in our zodiac, like in our astrological chart, our natal chart, Saturn return is a energy that turns everything on its head. If we weren't doing the things we were supposed to be doing, if we weren't on the path that we were supposed to be doing, Saturn helps also break down everything at the same time. It takes and is a destroyer almost at the same time, right? We see the scythe here with our Saturn card. So if things aren't what they were supposed to be, if things weren't built the way they're supposed to be built, Saturn brings that down. So the combination with the Pilgrim energy here for the theme of December for Earth Zodiac signs, the Pilgrim energy is that traveling energy. It's that wandering energy. It's a very free form flowing energy, getting out of the day-to-day cycles that Saturn usually has, that day-to-day authority, structure, from Saturn specifically. The Pilgrim gets out of that energy, moves through and out of that energy to be that free form wandering, almost like the Fool in the Tarot is the Pilgrim here, but without necessarily the naivety that the Fool has. The Pilgrim is really talking about that exploration, that deeper process of learning and discovering, traveling, learning new things. And this can be done in a multitude of ways. You can actually go on like a solid pilgrimage, right? Where you go like on a road trip, you travel to a different country. So therefore you're learning new things, you're traveling to new places, you're going on that journey. But it can also be an internal process at the same time here with Pilgrim, where you're learning deeper new things about yourself, about your life, about who you are, how your ancestral line came to be about, how your family dynamics are based on that generational energy potentially. There's lots of things you can do pilgrim-wise internally as well. The journey inside ourselves through our life and thoughts and feelings is just as much of a pilgrimage as it is to go on like an actual journey somewhere, like on a road trip or a trip traveling to somewhere new. So it's interesting with Saturn energy here because the Pilgrim talks about, breaking out of these day-to-day boundaries and structures that Saturn has. But with Saturn being the transformational energy, it's really interesting how this is balancing here. So what it feels like, it'll be very interesting is how it breaks down across the 3 cards for each of the individual zodiac signs. But at its basis, what it feels like is we are changing up how these structures and boundaries work within our lives through this Pilgrim energy. So we are changing what our day-to-day looks like, right? We are changing up what it means to live our life every day, what our work situation looks like, maybe what our home life situation looks like, our relationships. With the Saturn energy, the Pilgrim's taking a look at all of that. And with the Saturn energy, we are trying to see what we want to still work with, still fit in our lives, what orders we still want to use, and what others need to break down and change and move and discover new ones that we want to be in the energy of, if that makes sense. With the Pilgrim here and Saturn, they actually do balance each other well if done correctly, right? Where we don't get too bogged down by Saturn energy. We don't get too constricted if we have enough Pilgrim energy. But then on the other hand, the Saturn energy does help to refine this Pilgrim energy, give it that structure it needs to actually accomplish something that it wants to do. So the Pilgrim energy is not just completely willy-nilly free form, like it helps like contain it down a little bit. So if done correctly, we don't feel too stifled by Saturn energy, and we are not too flighty with the Pilgrim energy, where they balance each other out here with a good harmony, a good balance back and forth on like the scales, which is definitely good energy to have. So this will break down a little bit better depending on each individual sign here for sure. I think this will show up very, very differently for each Earth Zodiac sign is kind of my guess right now. So we'll see how that does progress here. But let us now hop into our individual readings for each of the signs with Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. So when you are ready, hop down to the timestamps below and join me in your group when you are ready. I'll see you there, Earth Zodiac signs. Bye. Hello, my Tauruses. So let us get started with your specific reading here. So we've got the Pilgrim out and we've got Saturn. So let us get 3 cards here from the Light Seers Tarot and see how this energy is going to progress for you and look specifically for the month of December of 2022. Okay, cool. Okay, so Light Seers Tarot, please give me 3 cards for Taurus for December of 2022 with regards to the Pilgrim and Saturn. 3 cards, please. Card 1. Oh, thank you. Flew over here, but that is the 5 of Cups. Okay. Card 2, please. Card 2, please, for Taurus with Pilgrim and Saturn. Come on. Card 2, please. Card 2, please. Thank you. We'll keep it sideways like that. And then card 3. It's 2. Nope, just one, please. Just one. Card 3, please. Card 3. I'll take the bottom of that one. Okay, cool. So Taurus, let us see here. So we've got the Pilgrim and we've got Saturn. Let me pull you up a little bit more here so you can just get a good view of everything. There we go. Okay, Pilgrim and Saturn. We've got the 5 of Cups in the upright. So good look at that one. So then we have this card that came out sideways. I like when they're straight, like sideways like this. I like to keep them that way. Usually if they're like skewed any which way, then I'll take it in that position. But if it came out pretty much sideways, then that's a good indication to me that the energy can flip either way. It depends on the situation. So that is the 10 of Wands that is coming out sideways. So there's the 10 of Wands coming out in sideways position. So it can go upright or reverse depending on how we're reading the situation, or depending on the energy around it. And then our last card, card 3 over here. Ooh, Death and Rebirth, the Death card specifically. But beautiful, beautiful card. So interesting process here, Taurus. Let's see. Okay. So here's our card spread out for you, Taurus. Let's take a little bit deeper look at everything. So Taurus, with this energy coming out here, right? So we've got the 5 of Cups in the upright. We have 10 of Wands and the Death card. And honestly, this is a decently clear energy for kind of what's going on in terms of the Pilgrim and Saturn, right? Saturn is definitely in regards to our 5 of Cups and our 10 of Wands here, and the Pilgrim is the process we're seeking with the Death card over here. With our 5 of Cups is talking about some kind of disappointment, some kind of situation that's happened that we just feel very like sad and kind of desolate over. We can see with our figure here, right? Our figure is all these, the energy of the cups being poured into this like hole here, almost like a black hole. So we see the 3 prior cups here that already got poured out, this card, this cup being poured out here, and there's one more behind this person here. But that is actually still filled with lots of good energy. You can kind of see the rainbow coloring in that. There's lots of energy being filled. But the energy that is being poured out of here with the 5 of Cups is an energy where we feel like it's got wasted. It's an energy that we feel like we don't know what we're doing. We don't know what's going on here. And this is clarified almost and like in conjunction with our 10 of Wands here as well. 10 of Wands being all this like hard work we've been doing, this journey, that we've been going on, right? We can see our figure here and the path that they've been traveling, all this energy and all these things they're holding that they've been taking with them. The 10 of Wands energy, in the original Rider-Waite, we see that figure that is holding all 10 wands and struggling. It's a big load that they're carrying, so much burden, so much that they're holding. And with it being a 10 energy, the 10 is that finishing up, that completion. So we're almost at the end of this journey here. We're almost at the end of this cycle that we've been working through, that we've been processing. So there's just like a little bit more effort there going on, but there is lots of disappointment where it's like maybe it wasn't, now that we're getting to the end of it, it's not what we thought it'd be. It's not what we want it to be as we're working through with the Saturn energy here, right? We're coming to, again, it feels like the energy that happens with like a Saturn return. So what happens around between like 28 to 32, and then again, like in our like 50s, I think again, it's like around 56 or so where that Saturn return happens again for the second time in our chart. The energies of what's going on in my life, where am I at, why have I been doing what I've been doing, is this what I really want, is this what I really care about, is this what matters to me? Is it what I've been seeking, right? Seeking with our pilgrim energy here and this death and rebirth process. Look at the way this death process happens here, right? We've got our figure that is kind of that Grim Reaper figure with the hood, but in the center of it, we have that beautiful star and kind of forest energy, that showing of what is possible as we work through this death and rebirth process again. With death comes rebirth, and that is that energy that is a continuous cycle, continuous movement through, right? We see that infinity sign in between the two at the bottom of the card here. So that constant cycle, that constant change, that constant movement forward and backward and through and consistent. And this is the pilgrim energy, right? Where it's like, okay, hey, we need to figure out what we've been doing, what we want, what we care about, what we're seeking here. And in that process, Saturn, as much as it is our boundaries and structures and everything, it also has a destructive process to it. Saturn comes in and looks at everything that we've built and sees if it's stable, sees if it is something you can build on, if it is a actual structurally foundational sound, if it's a structurally sound foundation, the order of the words I wanted there. If it's a structurally sound foundation in this case. If it's not, Saturn tests this energy. Saturn tests what's been happening here. Saturn will test it. And if it's not structurally sound, then it's going to fall apart with this death process here. And that's a painful process. That is kind of where this disappointment comes in here with our Five of Cups. But at the same time, it can also be very freeing, putting down the burdens of the Ten of Wands here, right? We finished up this thing we've been holding on to for so long, and we can actually put down our burden finally. We can actually let this thing go, let this thing die, let this thing progress in a new way, opening up space in order to expand and grow anew. In this case. So as much as Saturn, again, is that those boundaries, that structure, it is a destructive process as well. It comes in and destroys anything that is not structurally sound or that is no longer of service to us. So in this case, it's not sound in terms of our spirituality. It is not something we want to continue to grow with in our spirituality and our emotional, like mental, emotional growth. So then it is cut down, it is brought back down, so that way we can build fresh and build anew again and figure out that next new thing with this pilgrim energy here, okay? That this pilgrim energy is that wandering energy, that new and exciting energy for discovering new things and new places and new people and new language and food and culture, all those pieces where you go on this journey and see things that you haven't seen before, right? It's only with the destruction potentially, or the letting go, the putting down our burden of the day-to-day things, the things that have been our consistent processes, our consistent routines that we've been in for so long that have been disappointing us, that have been making us sad, and life not feeling like we're what it's supposed to be right now. It's only when those things are finally put down and put to rest and moved through, destroyed to the next thing, that we can find this new pilgrim energy here and start this rebirth process. So what's going to happen here, what's kind of needed, Taurus, is to really take a good look at everything, a deep dive into the emotions here, right? This deep dive into the Five of Cups. What have we been pouring our energy into? And that has just been kind of a black hole that has just been sucking up all of our beauty and fun and creativity and joy. Because look at that cup that's still left here, right? With our five of Cups with this person, that beautiful kind of rainbow color. There's so much vitality and energy in that, and that's just getting poured out into this hole pretty much. So seeing what's left in the process of destruction with Saturn and this death process, seeing what's left that is still, what's the word I want? That's still viable, that's still buildable, usable, that's still left over with this death process, the Saturn energy, this destructive energy. What's still left that can be used and created and made into something beautiful and new, right? This beautiful kind of rainbow energy that's left in the cup really matches this pilgrim energy here, really matches that beauty and excitement and newness of the pilgrim energy. So the process here of really deep diving into our emotions, our feelings, what we feel like has been disappointing us, making us sad. We have to really make sure we have an awareness and identify what this is down to its like deepest core, these deepest foundations of the Saturn energy here. Because it's only this process here where we can actually finally let go of these burdens, right? So this job where it's like, okay, this has really been bogging me down for so long. I don't like working here. I don't like these people. I don't want to be here anymore. So what can we do? How can we move forward? How can we change something here? What new process can we make? What is that thing that's calling us, that new journey that's been calling us here with the Pilgrim energy? It's like, okay, maybe you want to become like a travel agent or something, right? Where it's like all of a sudden you want to go travel and do things and go about the world and move things. So it's maybe you become like a flight attendant or something. So this process of seeing what our burdens are, what burdens we're carrying, how we can maneuver these burdens and wands in this case into new places. How can we hold them in a different way? Maybe are there some we can put down? Is there guilt that we can put down, shame we can put down, things that we don't need to carry anymore? Lessen our load here, change up what's been hurting us, what's been making us sad and everything. And then that's this destruction process of Saturn, change that up, and then we can create a new life for ourselves, create new things happening in our life with this death process. But it's only through this process of getting rid of these wands, the burdens that we've been carrying too much, figuring out what has been hurting us, making us sad, what's been disappointing us, identifying all of that, working through that process, letting it die, letting it be buried, put to ground, so that way we can build anew and create these new foundations with Saturn to build this next new life for ourselves here with Pilgrim energy, right? This is that transition, that changing energy here with Saturn. Saturn is with that destruction here, and then building again new routines, new structures, new foundations for ourselves that can support this Pilgrim energy. That's kind of what we want here, right? We have this beauty and creation and passion that comes in with the Pilgrim and this death and rebirth process here. And Saturn does want us to fulfill our life purpose, right? It does want us to fulfill our goals and our bigger energies, our bigger purpose, but it wants to make sure we're doing that with a strong foundation and strong boundaries in place, so that way we can move forward in a way that is going to be with integrity and purpose and clarity. The biggest thing for being clarity here, right? Where it's like, okay, all these things are in place. You put in all the foundations, all the, like building a house, right? You put in a solid foundation, you put up the walls, you put in the electricity and the plumbing, and everything is up to par. It's been stamp of approval on everything, where it is like structurally sound and structurally it's safe. Everything is exactly how it should be. So then we can get to the fun part of decorating and painting and putting energy and beauty and life into this home we've created for ourselves. But this process has to happen first. And whatever the old house may have been, that house isn't structurally sound anymore. So that has to be taken down and even torn down in some places, and seeing what we can rebuild from that, right? That old house is what's making us sad here. That is that disappointing energy for the Five of Cups, and has been burdening us here with the Ten of Wands. So by letting it go, letting it die, letting it tear it down so we can build anew, then we can go into all this new creative energy here with Pilgrim and that death and rebirth, getting to the rebirth process of the death process. So Taurus, hopefully that resonates. Hopefully that makes sense. That was a lot of words that I feel like just spewed out of my mouth very, very rapidly, but it is an energy that does make sense. So hopefully that does resonate for you. Keep all this in mind as you're moving through December. New Year is definitely going to be lots of good energy coming in potentially, and new opportunities. New Year just lets us have that opportunity to feel like we can start anew, start again, rebuild. So lean into that energy as you're working through December, finishing up whatever this process is, and start fresh in January, okay? But that's all I have for you for December. Hopefully this helps you out somewhat. Please leave any thoughts or feelings down in the comments below. I'll be happy to get back to you. But this is all I have. Have a happy December. I'll see you next month in January. Have a good day. Bye. Hello to my Virgos. So we got the Pilgrim out and we've got Saturn. So let us get our 3 cards specifically for you, Virgo, for what's kind of going to be happening in December 2022. This is also going to be for me because I'm a Virgo sun and rising. So I think I'm a lot of Virgo, actually. I think it's Jupiter and Venus as well, something like that. I got a lot of planets in Virgo, so this one's going to be for me just as much as it is for you. So, okay, so Light Seers Tarot with the Pilgrim out and Saturn. Please give me 3 cards to help out Virgo for December 2022. What's the energy that we need to know? One card, or first card, please, for December 2022. First card, please, in regards to the cards that are out. Card number 1, please. Card number 1, please. We will take the bottom on that one. Okay. Card number 2, please. There were like 5 cards on that one, so. Card number 2, please, for Virgo. Okay. Card 2. And card 3, please. It's kind of figuring it out like Santa Morte did last time around, where, oops, where it throws cards kind of into the spot they're supposed to be. Okay, cool. 3 cards. Like this. Okay, cool. So, let's pull everything back down in a frame. We got Pilgrim and Saturn and our 3 cards here. So, card 1 in reverse is going to be the Page of Pentacles. Okay, Page of Pentacles in reverse. Card 2, the Lovers in the upright. Okay. And card 3 in the reverse is the 6 of Wands. Okay. Interesting kind of orangey color out already. Just to look at that, we got orange in the pans here. We got orange in the kind of the background and orange here. Okay, Virgos, let us see what we got in store for December. So my Virgos, with our energy present here, right, there is definitely something that has been stalled here potentially, something not quite going the way we want it to, especially showing up with the Page of Pentacles in reverse, and even a little bit here with our 6 of Wands. Page of Pentacles talking about our like finances, our career, our money, those that kind of like physical reality. But with it coming in reverse, there is a trying to figure out the next step, trying to figure out what's going on, trying to figure out the way forward, what choices we're going to make, which is the Lovers here, of course. The Lovers being a big one about the choices, our unions, that duality, but at the same time, like trying to make the right choice here. Page of Pentacles feels like things weren't just going the way felt like they should be going. This is also kind of that 6 of Wands energy. 6 of Wands is usually like a celebration, right? When it's coming in the upright, it's being recognized, showing that achievement, being congratulated and recognized by others and really like celebrated. However, with it coming in reverse here, it's either that didn't happen the way we wanted it to, or it was something that we are keeping to ourselves. We still accomplished something, but it's something we're keeping more internal, away from the eyes of others. We didn't want it celebrated publicly here. And we can kind of see this in terms of a like past, present, future, right? Where it's like, okay, we are trying to figure out what's going on here with Page of Pentacles. We're trying to figure out what steps we're going to take, how to move forward, how to progress things. So we make a very firm choice, the Lovers here, and do end up with the celebration energy at the end, but it's more of a private one, something we've worked hard personally for, right? And that does show up with like Saturn energy as well, with those boundaries here that a little bit more reserved, a little bit more pulled back. However, the 6 of Wands and Page of Pentacles can tie in really well together. It doesn't have to be like past, present, future in this case. These ones tie in really well together, and then the Lovers is kind of that separate energy a little bit. Once we figure out what this energy is over here, then we make this choice and move forward with that, right? So with Page of Pentacles especially, the energy feels like, how do I want to say this? Where we're trying to like reevaluate things, right? We're trying to like look at our goals, look at what we've been doing, see in terms of like money and finance and life and career and all those things, like the goals of what's kind of been happening. We're really looking at a deeper energy with Saturn and Pilgrim here and how it affects everything else in our life, right? If you look at this Page of Pentacles here, and there is a lot of energy and vitality that's showing up with the way this page is holding that pentacle. And this energy, how we want to move forward with it, is going to be very, very important for us in the future. How we want to progress this energy, how we want to go about achieving things. We need to really make sure we take a look at what goals we have, what goals we want to try to accomplish, and actually put down the steps in order to achieve those things. We need to actually start planning those things out. We need to actually start making moves. We need to start putting in the real efforts that is needed in order to accomplish these things. And this is Saturn energy here, right? Where we're being asked to put these boundaries, these structures, these routines in place from Saturn in order to help achieve this bigger thing, right? We have an idea of what we want to do with this Pilgrim energy. We have an idea of how we want to move forward with our thing, our next thing, our goal, our thought process, what that energy, that creativity, that passion that is the Six of Wands as well. We have an idea of what that is, but we actually just need to put in the effort and the time and the work in order to start achieving that thing. We need to have the discipline in order to achieve that thing here with Saturn energy. And that with Saturn, especially here, it's a very counter energy to what I was just reading for Taurus in my last reading, where we were trying to break down structures that had been built by Saturn. With this Saturn energy specifically, that we're trying to build them up. We're trying to build in those routines, those processes in order to help achieve whatever this goal is that we've been working here with Page of Pentacles in reverse. And in order to do that, there are choices that need to be made. This is that Lover's energy as well. This Lover's energy can kind of just pop wherever it wants to in this reading specifically. It's like, okay, hey, whatever choice you need to make, whatever passion, what was going to bring unity here into the situation with our Pilgrim energy, what choices do we need to make in order to put in the right routines and structures in place with Saturn here. What choices do we need to make in order for our achievements to happen here at the Page of Pentacles? And how do we want to celebrate it at the end of the day? How do we want to show up in the Six of Wands energy with the Lovers card here? Their Lovers can kind of pop out wherever it wants to in this reading specifically. It's very interesting. Because it is a card of unity. It's a card of making the right choices. We're implementing energy we've learned from the card previously, which was the Hierophant, and Hierophant definitely being those structures, very Saturn energy here, the structures of society and our lives and like the institutions around us, right? It's very Saturn energy, Hierophant energy. And then we come into that. That's the energy from the card before from the Lover's card, moving into the Lover's card specifically. And the Lover's card helping us make the right choices that we need, helping us move forward into those next big steps here. Because it does feel like, especially with the Pilgrim energy out here, Virgo, these are kind of big steps we're taking, right? I say we in this case because this is including me for Virgo as well. But it's a big step where it's being taken, Virgo. There's lots of big energy here. Pilgrim itself is a big energy because it's talking about all of that travel, making that pilgrimage, right? And Saturn's one of the biggest planets in the solar system, right? Only second to Jupiter in this case. Jupiter being our expansion and growth energy, and Saturn being that constriction and boundaries and routine energy here, but also a very destructive energy at this time, in the same regard, right? So with Saturn, unlike what I was reading for Taurus, there's not as much destruction energy here. It feels like the destruction process already happened. We've already kind of identified what needed to change here. We already kind of made this choice here with the Lovers in this case. So that's why there is confusion coming out with the Page of Pentacles. There is confusion for like, hey, I know what I need to be doing. I know what I want to accomplish. I'm just trying to figure out how to get there now. And that's this Page of Pentacles here. I'm really trying to figure out how to progress that, how to move forward in that energy. And that's been the more difficult energy to try and accomplish here. With the Six of Wands energy, we're really redefining what success means to us. We're really redefining how we view ourselves as successful, what successful means, and that is where a little bit of this destructive Saturn energy is coming into, right? We're dismantling the old process, the old systems, the old thought processes for what success means, what it means to be successful, what success looks like. And I definitely think that makes sense in a capitalistic society that is failing for sure. We're getting into post-capitalism kind of energy, right? Success looks very different now on what it means, because the normal 9-to-5 job just might not be what fits anymore. It might not be what's going to give us that life and passion and vitality moving forward in our life. And therefore, the ideas of success that happened in previous generations, the white picket fence with the 2.5 kids, the American dream, so to speak, for those that are in the live in America and or have that kind of mentality around it, that's not what's the viable option anymore, right? That's not the viable option and what success should look like anymore, at least for many millennial generation and generations underneath. The look of what successful means is going to be changing here, and that is a personal process as well, where with Six of Wands in the reverse, it's like, okay, hey, I know that what I thought was successful or what it meant to be successful when I was younger is now completely different than what reality is actually showing us, what it is actually going to be in reality, what I want it to be. And that's where another big choice comes in, right? Because it's scary to go outside of the boundaries of what society says or what society has structured to be successful. And that's where some of this confusion comes in with Page of Pentacles as well, right? Because it's like, okay, if you don't have the quote unquote formula anymore to progress this energy to work towards that goal, right? So we have to redefine what the goals are, which is the Saturn energy as well, redefining what our day-to-day looks like, redefining what the routine and the structure looks like, rebuilding that foundation, rebuilding that structure here, because we've already kind of dismantled all of it here. And continuously to make these choices, that is this kind of pilgrim free-flowing energy. We are actually finally we figured out what this pilgrim energy is. It feels like Virgo, and now we're finally using the Saturn energy to help build the structure we need in order to accomplish that. So it's going to take a little bit more time here. There'll definitely be a lot of new energy flowing in with the beginning of the year, with coming into January. So I'll be curious to see how this energy changes for Virgos and me specifically, since I'm also Virgo. But there's lots of choices and options here. So it's going to take some time to just sit down with ourselves and actually really start planning things out, right? Making all these choices that is needed with the Lover's energy and coming into bigger major arcana energy with the Lovers as well. These are big changes, big life-changing things that happen with the Lovers card, because it is a major arcana. So this bodes well for lots of good things happening and changing and progressing in the future. We just got to put in the time and effort to figure out what the goals are, and then build the steps in order to reach those goals, okay? So Virgos, hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that resonates. I know it makes sense for me, at least personally, but hopefully I didn't read too far into my own personal situation. Hopefully it resonates and makes sense for the rest of the other Virgos out there as well. But this is the energy we have for December. I hope you have a wonderful month. We'll see you next month in January. Have a good rest of your day. Bye. Hello, Capricorn. So with the Pilgrim energy out and Saturn energy out, let us get your specific energy now with the Light Seers Tarot. We'll get 3 cards out and see what this energy means specifically for you, Capricorns, for December of 2022. So let us get started. Okay. So Light Seers Tarot, please give me 3 cards for Capricorns that they need to know for December of 2022 with regards to the Pilgrim and Saturn out. So card number 1, please. Card number 1, please. Thank you. Okay. Card number 2. Card 2, please. Thank you. 3 of Pentacles. Okay. And, okay. No, we won't take those. Anything else flipped? Okay. There were 2 there, so I didn't want to take those. Okay. And card number 3, please. Card 3, please. Thank you. Okay. Ooh, the World. Okay. Let's get these down here. Pull these back into frame here. So we got the Pilgrim, we've got Saturn. Card number 1 is Ah, Three of Swords. Okay. So tough card for sure, but we've got lots of other good cards out as well. So we got the Three of Pentacles out as well. So 2 threes, and then we have the World. The final card in the major arcana. Oh no, the Wheel, not the World. My bad. The Wheel. Okay. Not the last card. Wheel. That is the Wheel of Fortune. Okay. So Capricorns, let's take a little bit closer look at all these. So Capricorns, obviously with Three of Swords out, there's been something big that kind of happened, right? Three of Swords coming out is never a joke. There's a big energy, pain and hurt and betrayal that usually comes out with Three of Swords energy here. And this painful kind of grief process definitely feels like it ties in with Saturn a little bit here, right? The scythe is almost kind of like what it feels like it like took to the heart right here, right? These deep kind of scars that are happening in the heart felt like it's almost like the scythe of this Saturn energy here is kind of what pierced through, right? So Saturn is definitely a harsh energy sometimes. Saturn is a very painful energy sometimes. And the destruction process that Saturn puts in our life, that Saturn does like reap in our lives, can lead to some very painful things that happen, right? If the structure, the foundation wasn't structurally sound, when Saturn comes in to shake everything up, then that's when things fall apart and things hurt. Saturn comes in and is a testing energy. Saturn tests the feelings that we've had, the situations that have happening to see if they are viable in the long term, viable past the Saturn energy. And if they are, then they are very strong things that we can keep going forward with as this wheel is turning here. Otherwise, these things fall apart when Saturn energy comes in. And there's definitely that something fell apart here with the Three of Swords energy. Lots of pain and hurt. But if we're looking closer at the heart, right, we do see that stitching. The heart being stitched back together, right? And that stitching in the process of weaving is showing up with our Three of Pentacles here as well, the Three of Pentacles energy. So it almost feels like the wheel is in between these two cards, right? The wheel is talking about the Wheel of Fortune specifically, the way the wheel turns and moves as things progress and change, the cycles of our life as we are going through life and going through the processes. The wheel turns again. So we have these darker periods, the wheel turns, and then we go into a more happy period. We have those ups and downs throughout life, right? So it feels like the wheel is almost between these two cards where it's like, okay, this is what we are. The wheel turns, and then we move into the Three of Pentacles, especially since we have a pair of threes here. We have three on either side in this case, right? The wheel is balancing that in between, and then we almost feel like we have a balanced scale here, which is interesting to kind of note. The Three of Pentacles also kind of feels like the rebuilding process after this Three of Swords, right? The continuous process of the stitching, healing, the healing that's happening after whatever this Three of Swords energy that took place was. It feels like the Three of Pentacles here is like, okay, we're working in partnership with people in order to help rebuild and weave this new thing. Usually Three of Pentacles is more in regards to the Pentacles is more in regards to like our physical reality, our finances, our material possessions, our career, our money. But there, with the three people being here as well, there is that connection to others, a connection to our friends, our family, as they help us rebuild after whatever this Three of Swords energy was over here. This grief process, this loss, this hurt, betrayal, whatever it is that the Three of Swords represents in the specific situation in December for you, Capricorn. Or it's something that took place in the past. This could be something that happened in the past and something that we're still working and processing through. And this wheel energy is the cycle and the movement that's happening, that's transitioning after whatever happened in the past here. If you see me messing with something, this is like a little piece of clay or whatever, so it's kind of helping me focus here. So our Pilgrim energy feels like it ties in with the wheel and the Pentacles here. How do I want to, the Saturn energy here could have been something that happened kind of farther in the past, right? So the Saturn energy in this case while it did destroy whatever this was back here that brought in that destructive energy, Saturn also does help rebuild those things. It gives the opportunity to rebuild and learn and grow from it and build something more structurally sound, more structurally stable, that we might have found with this pilgrim energy already, right? The pilgrim is talking with the wheel here. That is that kind of free-flowing, moving energy, that new cycle in our lives. And working to build something together, working to build something new with others of the Three of Pentacles here. So it's a very interesting combination here. It almost feels like we haven't gotten to this pilgrim energy yet, potentially as well. It feels like I can see how Saturn is showing up in the Three of Swords. I can see how Saturn shows up in the Three of Pentacles here with this process of destruction and rebuilding, death and rebirth. But the pilgrim is a little out of place almost in this reading specifically. It feels like with the pilgrim being the main theme, it's harder to see where we are trying to, how do I want to say it? With pilgrim, where we're trying to find those new opportunities to learn and grow and change, right? It might be this process for you, Capricorn, is much more internal. So for others, the other two in the Earth Zodiacs, it was a much more external process for finding the path and the journey outside of ourselves, finding the path outside and movement in actual like physical reality, versus for you, Capricorn, it feels like a much more internal process is happening here. More of a discovery of self, discovery of deeper thoughts and feelings that are taking place inside of us that were shown with this Three of Swords here, right? With grief process and the hurt that happens in kind of a Three of Swords energy that is also opens us up at a deeper level. It shows us what's happening inside of us at a very, very deep level. We almost get to like see our insides, right? If the getting hurt and this heart getting like cut open, right? But we see what's inside the heart here with that. It's not a wound we want to stay exposed, but with that wound, we do know what's inside of ourselves and how that energy moves and flows and works within ourselves from this process of the Three of Swords here. And with that, we can take the energy of the wheel, and as the wheel turns to the next new thing, the more positive change in this case, we can actually use what we've learned from that Three of Swords process, that self-discovery, into the Three of Pentacles here to build this next new thing with others together in a collaborative process here. So the pilgrim energy here for you, Capricorn, really feels much more like an internal process, an internal learning and an internal growth, where you're going on a deep venture, a pilgrimage inside of yourself, inside of your emotions, your mind, your thoughts, and how everything came about into this Three of Swords, and learning from that process, learning from the pain and growing from it in order to build something new and better and stronger, which is also the Saturn energy, right? That is also the Saturn energy that comes in post-destruction, right? If the thing was not structurally sound to start with, when Saturn comes in to shake up things, that thing collapses, but then offers us the opportunity as well to build the next new, bigger thing that is going to be stable in the long run. The wheel card in the middle, it really talks about being like the weavers of our own destiny, right? And that weaving energy is really, really present in the Three of Pentacles here, right? If you look at that, we see these three people weaving this almost like this kind of tapestry here. And the wheel energy really shows that we can make our own destiny, that we can change things for the better for ourselves. And that's a really good energy to have, especially post Three of Swords over here. Post Three of Swords, there's a lot of things to clean up and rebuild with. And the wheel does offer that energy to us, where we really came into an awareness here with the pilgrim. I guess that makes sense for why the pilgrim wasn't quite resonating at first, right? Because we did go on that pilgrimage. We did go on that journey. We did have the hardships of that pilgrimage taking place already. And now we're actually trying to implement what we learned from our pilgrimage, from our journey with this wheel energy into the Three of Pentacles as the year maybe progresses for you, maybe as we go into January, Capricorn, or Yeah, especially as we're coming into like your season specifically, it feels like, whereas you're coming back around to whatever time of birth, whatever birthday you have. There we go. That's the words I want. As we're getting into the Capricorn energy, whenever you were born, we're coming back around to that time of year, right? With December into January. So it really feels like with Pilgrim here, it's like, okay, if you went on the pilgrimage, you went on the journey, you discovered lots of new things about yourself, and had lots of hardships that happened with the Three of Swords. And now we finally, as we are coming back, we're starting to implement this energy now into our day-to-day, which is our Saturn energy, our patterns, our day-to-day, our discipline and daily structure. All that's kind of coming in with the wheel, and we're going to build really something really good out of it with Three of Pentacles. So lean into this energy now, Capricorn. Lean into whatever you're working on collaboratively with somebody else potentially. Maybe you are working with like a therapist post whatever trauma this was over here. Talking with friends and family. Maybe you're actually working on like a physical project at work or something, working collaboratively with others, and you're building something really nice and good. And all what this shows at the end of the day for you, Capricorn, is that things happen. We can make a reason for why things happened. It's weird to say maybe that everything happens for a reason. It depends on what you believe and what your thought process kind of is on that. I do believe that personally, that everything happens for a reason, but I know not everybody likes that thought process. But there is always something we can learn from whatever situations, even painful situations that have happened in our lives. But there's always something we can learn and take away from it and use it in the rest of our lives as we progress. Okay, so keep that in mind, Capricorn, as we are moving into this next year. There'll be a yearly reading for you coming out towards the end of December for your 2023. So I'll be kind of curious for you, Capricorn, what that'll show up here. But this is what we got for December. I will see you again in January for this specific zodiac reading. So I hope you have a wonderful month and a wonderful rest of your day whenever you're seeing this. I'll see you next time. Bye.